All right. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. See if anybody in the chat can hear me. Push one in the chat if you can hear me. All right. Keep it techie. What's going on? Thank you for the confirmation. King Damiette. What's going on, bro? All right. Welcome back to the Black Brain Trust. This is episode 311, Black Tech Talk. Please hit the like button as you come in. Share the video if possible. Hit that notification bell and that subscribe button so you get all the updates from the Black Brain Trust, including those posted on the community tab. There will be a docket in the description beneath the video after this live stream is over. All right. So, hey, Julian, what's going on? So, how should I get to this? Actually, let me give you guys a few seconds to come in, a few minutes to come in, I should say, and then we can get started. I'm not going to be on here long. I've been meaning to do this for a while now, and we got sidetracked with a few other things on Saturday night and the night before that. So, and we've been sitting on this stuff since August. It's now September going into October, so this stuff has to be. We have to move this project. So, Mega Montana, what's going on, man? Okay, Julian is about to hit the gym. Deadlifts today, back work today, shoulder work today. What's on the agenda? Squats and deadlifts. Interesting. I never do squats and deadlifts on the same day. I always split that apart. Mostly because deadlifts incorporate is a compound movement, and squats are not. So I always incorporate deadlifts on the day that I'm going to do back work. We got 9 people watching, only 6 likes, man. To you 3 people, if you're not going to participate in the chat, at least hit the like button. All right. Let me get ready to get started. Hey, what's going on, Nagone?
Yeah, what's up, baby? Oh, I just want to say this. Squats are a compound movement. They're actually one of the most important. You have your hip and your knees moving. Any two joints that move simultaneously in an exercise is a compound movement. Plus, you have your whole spinal cord involved, which you have to balance the weight on, and you're actually turning your shoulders actually to kind of balance and hold the weight on your back, on your, keep the lower you have it, in fact, the better it is. So the squats are actually a compound movement that incorporate almost the whole body, like the bench press and so forth. Very important movement for your core. Very critical compound movement.
Oh, I just
dangerous one as well.
Oh no, I just meant in terms of muscle activation, in terms of benefit. You'll probably get more benefit from the deadlift than you would from the squat in terms if you just had to compare the two.
I don't know about that. See, I would greatly disagree. But
we can open up a live stream for that, man, and we can talk about some of that bodybuilding stuff, man.
Yeah. I mean, this is my steez. Fucks with this heavy. I'm sorry, but I love squats and deadlifts too. I love them, but I got hurt on deadlifts. I hurt my lower spine a little bit doing 7 plates, and my doctor looked at me and said, "Okay, you're 50 something, and you're trying to and you're deadlifting 685 pounds. You're crazy." And and I actually got hurt. And he suggested I don't do that anymore, and I actually listened to him. And I wear a belt now.
Oh, I was about to ask you that. Do you wear a belt?
Oh yeah, bro. I wear.
Is that from K&G or?
well, I know that the belt really, it's almost like another set of muscle of tendons around your body, so it holds your spine in place, and it keeps you from actually precipitating any other injury, especially in the lower back. And there's a deadlifting belt that you should have, and then there's just a regular lifting belt that you should wear. But if you're going to wear a deadlifting belt, because if you're going to lift very heavy, you need a thicker belt to better support the lower back. And Shike is the belt of Shike is the belt of choice with respect to that from a powerlifting perspective. But you have to have the proper equipment, and I wasn't really doing it right. Still thinking I was a young boy. And got fucked up. So
you should have had the same belt that Tommy Sotomayor had when Tariq Nasheed pulled up on.
You want the WWE belt?
Yeah, it's Continental.
No, I'll leave that.
He was running around. He was running around like he was the 1, 2, 3 kid.
Well, yeah. Well, that's okay. I'll let Tommy wear. I love Tommy wear that belt. That's his belt. I roll with something quite a bit different, but that's okay. You should always wear lifting heavy. You should wear knee wraps and have a lifting belt just to keep yourself from getting hurt. And that's what I do now. I come in well armed, and I'm not lifting as heavy. I still do lift heavy, but I don't lift as heavy. Like I'm not putting 5 and 6 plates on my back anymore to squat. I'll go 4 plates, top 405. And I'm not doing that much. 315 usually. That's about 315 to 405 is about high as I go. Deadlifting, I don't go much past 4 plates. The 405 is pretty much what I do. As maximum like 5, 6 reps, and I'll do that. I'm not going those big heavy 7, 8 plates. I'm getting too old for that, and it's too dangerous. Little mistakes can get you badly hurt. So I'm very, very careful. I love lifting heavy. I've loved being very strong. That's my steed. I've been like that all my life. But I see now, because I got hurt even a little bit bench pressing 405 on the bench. I've hit that for 12 reps before and all that kind of stuff. I've done a lot of weight, really repping it out. And I just got on it one day and just pushed it up. It's about 6 weeks ago, and I heard something go pop, pop, pop. I was like, what the fuck? My man, thank God I had a good spotter, because that kind of weight, if that came down on my neck, it would have killed me.
Yeah.
And I was able to get the weight up, and I was hurt. And I went to the doctor. He said, he said it's a slight tear, very slight tear. I'm coming back into it, but I'm not doing any more than 315 on the bench right now. And this heavy ass weight is, this is dangerous. You got to be very careful, even if your form is good. So,
let me answer this question in the chat. I had a boy, man, who used to comb his hair and he used to go pop 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 too. So I know that.
but I heard those pops. I thought my pec was torn, and I thought I was finished. It's a torn pec. You're done, man. You are done. So I said all these years I never had an injury like that. Next thing you know, I'm tearing pecs out here, and I said that could be terrible. Anyway, okay, go ahead, bro.
Yeah. AO asked, would it work if I place very hands-on projects I did on my IT classes on my resume? I'm working on the Network Plus, Security Plus, and A Plus certs too. See, you want to put those projects, if you have no other experience, you want to put those projects at the top of your resume, as project-based work, rather than for especially if it's recent. And because if you compare your project-based work versus your internship, if your internship was some time back, then the project-based work should take precedence over the internship, or vice versa. If the internship was recently and your project-based work was before, then you want to make sure you put your internship work at the top and not above the project-based work. But it depends on what the project-based work was in reference to the role that you're trying to apply to. If you're trying to apply to a network role, network admin role, network analyst role, then putting a project on your resume about imaging computers doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. It has to be related to the role that you're applying to. And also, man, try to take advantage of contract work, man. Early in your career, you want to knock out that contract work early, because you don't want to wait till till you start having kids to start doing contract work, and then you're at the mercy of the company, and the company can decide that they want to terminate that contract, and they don't have to actually tell you when they're going to do it. They can just do it. They can pull the plug when they feel like it. So, especially if they want to stop payment. So you want to look at contract work too. Contract work really doesn't care about project work all that much. You can get involved in IMAX, which install, moves, adds, and changes. Those are really big at the first and last of the month, because that's when most companies start doing their adds and changes. All right, let me hit this article real quick, man. This is the first item on the docket from Andre Gagedos. This is his personal website. The toolkit of a freelance full-stack web developer. Becoming a freelance full-stack web developer requires a lot of work and love of learning. At first sight, it might be overwhelming to understand what you need to know and learn to make an entire web application on your own. Over the years, I've built a lot of web applications and custom websites as a full-stack web developer. Regardless of what I'm building, I always try to choose tools best suited for the project. What is different if you have a long-term job and start as a freelance full-stack web developer? If you don't have a pool of clients to work for, you will spend a lot of time to find quality freelance jobs. A lot of people think it is very easy to find a project as a freelance developer because there is high demand for web developers. However, it takes time to find projects which pay well and good clients with real expectations. As a full stack web developer, I have built web applications in JavaScript language, both in front end and back end and front end. Not because I believe JavaScript Node.js is the best back end language, but the benefit of using the same language in front end and back end development. In this article, I want to share with you which tools and applications I use as a freelance full stack web developer Feel free to reach out to me if you leave a comment if you think there are better tools or some tools are missing from this article. No coding tools. You need no coding tools as a freelancer. They help you with communication with clients and landing a freelance job. When you start as a freelance full stack developer, the communication and final deliverable are more important than tools that you use to get to the final result. RSS feeder or reader. RSS is a way for website authors to publish notifications of new content on their website. This content may include social media posts, blog posts, podcasts, or video recordings. Many freelance job listings websites allow you to subscribe their RSS feed. RSS Reader application notifies you with new job opportunities, and you are able to send freelance proposal among the first candidates. Page Monitor. Page Monitor is a browsing extension which monitors web pages for changes in the background. The purpose of Page Monitor is the same as RSS Reader. It allows you to monitor web pages with job listings which don't have RSS feed. The clock. You always need to schedule meetings with clients and coworkers. As a freelance full stack developer, you need to schedule meetings with others in different time zones. This tool is my personal preference. The clock is a tool for Mac menu bar, which allows you to add multiple time zones clocks. It contains a slider which lets you navigate through time. With this tool, scheduling meetings across different time zones is much easier. If your clients or coworkers overseas or in different time zones, communication is crucial and more challenging. If you only have a few hours overlap, you will practice asynchronous communication a lot, usually by email. In this case, it is very convenient to write down notes directly in email messages. Gmail Notes helps me a lot in long email communications. I use this myself personally. Visual Studio Code. As a full stack web developer, I spend a lot of time in my code editor, and that's the reason why code editor is one of the most important tools. Visual Studio Code is code editor optimized for building and debugging modern web applications. It is the first effort by Microsoft to create cross-platform editor which works on Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. Visual Studio Code can be configured with themes, snippets, and language support. Like many other popular code editors, Visual Studio Code has a massive amount of extensions to customize its behavior. The software is quick, like a pure text editor, but it has the power of a much heavier IDE. GitHub is pretty obvious for you guys in the chat should know about this. I'm not going to go over all of these. This is actually a really good write-up if you're trying to become a full stack web developer. The thing about full stack web developers, I think a lot of people are under the impression that full stack web developers or full stack engineers just develop websites, and that's not the case. You're developing a application of the web. So web application, we have something called PWA, which is progressive web applications. This means that you're building apps that can function, that are cross-platform functional across desktop, tablet, and the mobile phone, smartphones. So this is a massively growing market because everything is moving to the cloud. And with the cloud and a full stack web developer or a full stack engineer, now you're talking building medical applications, healthcare applications, government civil service applications, decentralization, blockchain, Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, Dropbox, Google Drive, all of these sort of services are going to have to be tied in a full stack developer or a full stack engineer is going to have to be the person working on all this type of stuff. So this will be in the docket after the video is over. So make sure you guys check that out. All right, this one is from Free Code Camp. Will Cisco be the next roadkill for AWS? I'm not keeping very close track, but it feels like months since Amazon Web Services most recently turned a major tech industry upside down. But with all the resources and market power, I'm sure there's always something interesting cooking in the kitchens of wherever Amazon headquarters happens to be right now. So let me throw my purely speculative prediction into the silence. As I described in my Learn AWS in a Month of Lunches book, AWS has happily replaced your server room with EC2, your SAN and NAS with S3, your data warehousing with Redshift, and your database with RDS or in Aurora. They've also invented entirely new development models, politely informing you, for instance, that you simply have to serve your mobile apps via serverless functions, Lambda. So what's next? Well, how about enterprise routing? For decades, large organizations have controlled their internal network traffic with switches and routers configured by proprietary operating systems. The hardware is expensive. A single appliance can easily hit $10,000, and the cost of hiring the trained admins needed to maintain them can be much higher. But is all that really still necessary? These days, your workloads are more likely to live in the cloud than in your actual office. Even in house Internet of Things devices can easily be controlled from the cloud using, for instance, AWS IoT. I'm guessing that most modern on-premises enterprise routing involves controlling how people connect to production resources and to each other, email, VoIP, video. But even that is more and more likely to be outsourced to SaaS solutions. I may be missing something, but I just don't see a compelling case for hardware stitches or switches here. Software-defined networks, SDN, should easily be up to the task. Why not just cover your campus and wireless access points, authenticate users using Kerberos or Active Directory, and configure your way to permissions, connectivity, perfection? How AWS can rule the routing world, which brings me back to AWS. They've already got all the bases covered for authentication, AWS Directory Service, and high-end remote connectivity, AWS Direct Connect. It probably wouldn't take much for them to extend their networks to your campus. Perhaps they'd allow you to create local VPCs, complete with configurable subnets that you use to organize your local infrastructure. I'm imagining a company's admin logging into the AWS console to onboard a couple of new hires from marketing. They'd be added to the AWS IAM marketing group that's already got access to Amazon's quick site dashboards and streaming data from your public-facing web servers running on EC2. But the group could just as easily be configured to allow its members to into a database that, for regulatory reasons, must remain local. So it says, what do you think are the days of proprietary system network admins numbered? We've talked about this before, and I have to agree that probably by 2022, you'll probably see less and less need for Cisco network admins beyond major corporations. Any new company, any new school, any new infrastructure rollout will be cloud-based. So if that's going to be the case, then what value would a sysadmin would a Cisco admin actually bring to the table if everything is now in AWS? So this is why I tell guys, look at what's coming down the pike and try to study up for that and get on that wave before the wave even starts. Because once it turns into a tsunami and it's coming your way, you're screwed. If you're not surfing that wave ahead of time, you're going to get left behind. You're going to get a whole avalanche of technology that's going to come your way that you're not going to be able to keep up with because you didn't make the transition early. I still see a lot of guys in their late 40s, early 50s, deep into their 50s, still doing desktop support. And I scratch my head and I'm saying, where did you? There had to be some time in your travels that you spent focusing on cloud, focusing on Windows Server, or focusing on Linux. How did you end up going into your deep 40s, into your early 50s, still doing desktop support? I don't know how they got like that. Nagone, you have anything you want to add to this? Hey, what's going on, Albert Bird?
What's good? Well, I can add to that. You have to understand, some of these companies, they don't want to change. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good the new technology is. That if it's making them millions of dollars, they will refuse to change. I don't know why, but
Well, most companies. There's a lot of feedback coming from you, Albert.
Well, I can tell you why. But a lot of these guys are just not aggressive to get up on some of the new technologies. They get stuck. They get stuck in their places. I've seen it. I've seen guys where they were supposed to migrate up to other levels of other releases and so forth. A lot of these guys haven't done it. They stayed in rather stagnant environments. They got fat, dumb, and happy. And the next thing you know, a couple of years down the line, these guys are rapidly falling behind the curve. And if they're desktop support, they stay there. They actually stay there. They don't move forward to get aggressive. And that's what I see time and time again. That's what it's all about. Because if you really want to get up on programming, a lot of companies, if you're very good and you know developers and so forth, some of them will let you work with them a little bit, pick up some stuff, and then they'll guide you to certain types of classes to take and so on and so forth. The next thing you know, you're getting up, you're in the cloud. But a lot of these guys are staying on the ground because they're not proactive in increasing their skill sets. Yeah.
There's a lot of guys who just maybe you live a lean lifestyle and you can afford to live off of the little salary that is being had for desktop support. Albert, you have a lot of feedback coming for you.
Yeah, app disappeared on me.
Let me mute you. Yeah, so to echo what Nagone is saying, a lot of these people, they got comfortable in their position. But what happens now is because you didn't do the due diligence to actually study up on new technology and actually make that transition out, the life cycle for a desktop support person should be anywhere between 3 to 5 years at best. You should be on help desk for maybe about a year and a half, maybe 2 years at best, depending on how the traffic of that environment, the volume of that environment, and what your ability is to adapt to that environment. 3 to 5 years is that cycle. Not uncommon for a person to be a senior help desk, senior desktop person by the 5th year, by the 4th year. Granted that if you take your A+, your Network Plus, your MCITP, your MCP, your other certifications, you can definitely become a senior desktop help desk person by 3rd year.
Many people who get into desktop support and so forth, they actually have some programming background, or they use that as a stepping stone. They actually use that as an entree route to get into a company move up, and increase their skill sets and get into development and so forth. It's a great way to get into a company. It's a great way to begin to branch out, to move upwards. A lot of people have done it. I've seen it time and time and time again. So like I said, when I see somebody who's 50 years old, 55 doing desktop support, I look at him like, like I know what he is. He's basically, fat, dumb, and happy, and he's ultimately, as time goes on, he's actually going to, scale himself out of there. He's going to be removed, and they're going to go for some younger guys. Desktop support. A lot of guys are jumping underneath desks and doing a lot of stuff. They like young kids to do this kind of stuff.
Yep.
So
they also like maturity too. They also like maturity. Maturity is actually good in terms of a situation that might go left, right? You have a higher ranking person in the organization whose desktop goes down for whatever reason. You got to be able to stand up to and think on your feet. A lot of young guys can't do that.
They do, but so much of that depends upon a lot of the companies that you're in. They do. I mean, I would say, if you're in a, more like, say, finance or banking or brokerage, that kind of thing, yeah, you're probably right about that. But some of these other more upscale, quick moving companies, Indeed, and these other kind of companies that are doing a lot of hiring with IT people and so forth, and they like these youngins up in there. So there is a move towards young. I see it. Yeah. I know you see it too, Mike. But
yeah.
There is a move towards that. So I don't think, and desktop support doesn't really pay that much. I mean, it pays okay after a period of time, but
if you work for the government, it pays well. But
it pays okay. But developers, certainly, system architects and everything else like that, they're the ones who are making the bigger dough. The SAs, the Unix people, of all flavors, and your DBAs on, with a lot of this stuff. These are the guys who tend to make the bigger bucks. They tend to make the bigger bucks. So that's generally how I see it. It's just like if you're still a COBOL CICS guy and you're doing some back end stuff, yeah, that's there. But you're at
that's
some
legacy
point,
stuff.
At legacy, the legacy, stuff, okay, because you have these banking institutions and others, insurances, and you got these huge, giant, databases of information. Yeah, that's still there. But even those guys have to know that they have to kind of scale their games up. But from a desktop perspective, use that as a stepping stone. Get at it as fast as possible, because I think at the end of the day, you're gonna you might get replaced. That's what I have to say about it. But
well,
that's my take.
Yeah, and usually the next level for a desktop support person is like a network admin or a server admin,
right?
A sysadmin. So SA. So let me jump to this next article from Red Hat. What salary can a sysadmin expect to earn? The path to reliable salary data sometimes paved with frustration. That's because the honest answer to a reasonable question, what should I be paid for this job, is usually it depends. Location, experience, skill set, industry, and other factors all impact someone's actual compensation. For example, there's rarely a single agreed upon salary for a particular job title or role. All of the above applies to system administrators. It's a common, long-established IT job that spans many industries, company sizes, and other variables. While sysadmins may share some common fundamentals, it's certainly not a one-size-fits-all position. And it's all the truer as some sysadmin roles evolve to take on cloud, DevOps, and other responsibilities. What salary can you expect to earn as a sysadmin? Yeah, it depends. However, that doesn't mean you can't get a clear picture on what sysadmin compensation looks like, including specific numbers. This information is worth having handy if you are a sysadmin on the job market or seeking a promotion. Let's start with some good news from a compensation standpoint. Sysadmins, like other IT pros these days, are in demand. In today's business environment, companies are innovating and moving faster than ever before, and they need systems that can keep up with the pace of their projects and communications, as well as help everything runs smoothly, says Robert Sutton, district president for the recruiting firm Robert Half Technology. That's why sys administrators are among the IT professionals who can expect to see a growing salary over the next year or so. It might seem like that's true across the board in IT these days, but sysadmins are among the specific roles where demand is particularly robust. Robert Half's 2019 Technology and IT Salary Guide includes system administrators on a list of 13 hard to staff roles, alongside some particular hot positions like DevOps engineers, cloud architects, cloud system administrators, security professionals. Also of note, network administrators and help desk desktop support professionals make it hard to staff this too. Nagone, please mute yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We actually just talked about desktop support. They said that that's a hard role to hard staff to fill. So generally speaking, that fact means that qualified sysadmins have negotiating leverage right now. Employers need to make their offers as attractive as possible to compensate for talent. Sutton notes. A useful characteristic of Robert Half's salary guide is that it breaks out the U.S. national average salaries by percentiles. The firm connects these percentiles to things like the individual's experience and skill set, employer characteristics, and local job market trends. Here's how the salary numbers for sysadmins shake out in the report. 25th percentile, $68,000. 50th percentile, $81,500. 75th percentile, $97,750. 100th percentile, $115,750 salary compensation. If you treat the 50th percentile as a norm, average in the sense of being typical, rather than a perfectly precise mathematical average, or invoking the negative connotation of the word average, this assumption bears out in the other salary data available online. JobSite Indeed lists an average annual U.S. salary for system administrators of $82,527. That's based on 9,919 salaries submitted anonymously to Indeed by system administrator employees, users, and collected from past and present job advertisements on Indeed in the past 36 months. Another interesting point here, Indeed says that the typical tenure of a sysadmin is between 1 and 3 years based on the same data. So we talked about this before in the last article, that the tenure or life cycle for a desktop support person is usually 3 to 5 years. Sysadmin is 1 to 3 years. JobSite Dice, meanwhile, lists an average salary of $82,264 in its 2019 tech salary report. That puts it at number 20 in the report's ranking of average salaries for common tech roles, roughly on par with web developer programmer jobs. Unless you're starting out in the sysadmin career or in a market where hiring isn't particularly robust, the low 80K range appears to be the current norm for sysadmins. Again, there are lots of specific factors that play a role in an actual offer or salary review, but this appears to be a reasonable baseline. As you build a particular expertise, it can pay off. ZipRecruiter pegs the average salary for a senior system administrator at $100,640, for example. The site also lets you ping in particular zip codes to see how the numbers change. Sutton from Robert Half says his firm is seeing growing interest among employers for the higher level sysadmin sophistication that corresponds with those loftier salary figures. We're seeing increased demand from employers for advanced skills and experience in this role, Sutton says. While the advanced skills and experience could be defined in all manners of ways, building cloud computing acumen is currently one of the best ways to climb that mountain. There are multiple pathways to doing so, but certifications could be useful. While IT certifications are sometimes a subject of heated debate, popular cloud certifications can boost pay. Previous research from Foot Partners, for example, linked certifications to an average 7.6% increase in compensation. Certifications aside, the sysadmin role is one where continuous professional development likely pays off over time. With the current low unemployment rate in the tech industry, companies often need to offer competitive salaries to bring these professionals on board, Sutton says. So we talked about this before. Certifications can be a make or break, and more likely make, for a candidate applying for a role. So
I can say this for sure. Certifications absolutely help. It's if one was to ask me as a recruiter, should you be certified in a given area or not? I would say definitely get the certification. That is, somebody's doing something there.
I think that might be Josh.
Yeah, but certifications definitely they definitely play a role. And hiring managers, they see certs for people, and they see a good skill set. They're definitely going to give. You're going to get the higher end on the salary ranges. That's not in every case, but it certainly doesn't hurt you. I can say that it really doesn't. Especially you have the good experience backed up behind it.
Now, are you seeing salaries that match, that are close to what was talked about in the article?
Very, very much so. Definitely for senior SAs, for sure. Senior developers, for sure. Desktop support people. If you're looking for a senior desktop guy, a senior desktop person, 85, 90, I'm not seeing that so much. I'm seeing more 75 or so. But yeah, the salaries are somewhat comparable, but definitely on the SA side, on the senior side, that they're right on the money on that. Absolutely. You're definitely doing six figures there. For sure. On the senior side. And I'm telling you, the Unix guys are getting paid. Unix folks are getting paid. All right. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Yeah, Unix, for those of you who don't know what Nagon is talking about, he's talking about Linux.
Yeah. Linux and all, because you still have, because everybody's going to the web and stuff, but you'd be shocked at some environments, unbelievable to this day, that still have a mixed matrix of older stuff and new stuff, and they're trying to make a lot of stuff together because companies sometimes are cheap and they don't want to spend as much money, so they're using all different types of add-ons or whatever to really help to really help some of these technologies kind of talk with each other, and it's a big mess in some places. You'd be shocked at what you'd see, but like I said, the Unix admin side, and talking about Linux and all all the different flavors. Yeah, guys are definitely seeing some nice bread there as well. Seeing some nice bread.
Well,
nice
speaking of sysadmins, man, we got Josh on the panel. What's going on? Keep it techie.
What's up, guys?
Hey, Josh, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm good. And I apologize. This is my first time being able to catch you guys, but like right now, I'm actually traveling back to San Diego. But it was a tech talk, so I had to hop on. You know what I'm saying? So, but I mean, how's everything going? I mean, I was listening to the conversation and everything. Yeah, Linux is starting to pick up a lot of traction, especially like in the government. I know for sure, based on what I'm seeing. So I mean, it's a good thing to learn about as well. So.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of private a lot of private companies that are out here, are definitely rolling very heavily with it. We've been seeing a lot more of the, let's say, the banking institutions and so forth, are really picking up heavily on that as well. especially with a lot of good, very strong Java front end developers as well, front end and back end people. So there's a lot, and there's a lot of J Swing, AWT, and all this stuff that a lot of guys are jumping on right now. JNode, a lot of this stuff is big also in these environments that a lot of people are picking up on now. So I'm looking at a lot of stuff with these Java and a lot of like I said, Linux, Unix people. I'm seeing a lot of demand there, as well as C# development. C, not so much C++, but more C# and these other technologies that made up with Microsoft and a lot of the web applications as well, which and a lot of object-oriented programming, which is a bit more complex. These guys are getting paid. They're getting paid heavy, and so that's kind of what's going on. So as far as the IT game is concerned, big money in there if you're well positioned. Big money.
And a lot of these roles are starting to really pop up now in terms of our space, in terms of ADOS, in terms of Black Americans, because of the H-1B visa issues that this new administration has
Great
put
point.
into place, has allowed a lot of these jobs to go to the next viable class, which is that of African Americans, ADOS, whatever you want to call yourself in America. If you're melanated, you should be in IT right now as a man. This is a hot market right now. Everybody's making this big transition for 2020 to get to the cloud, to update their desktop systems. Some of the other environments I've been in is BYOD now. You bring your own laptop, and then they push down a virtual machine to your computer, and then you work from there. So there's a variety of ways of how companies are making these transitions, but for all intents and purposes, desktop support is not going anywhere for the most part. Help desk isn't going anywhere. The article we just read actually talked about that from Red Hat, that there's still a high demand for help desk and desktop support people.
There's always going to be that.
Yes, always.
There's always going to be that, because you always got to set up workstations. You always got to set up a lot of different stuff. That's always going to be there. It's just a question of if you really want to move higher into the IT game and really garner the bigger dollars, it might behoove you to segue from that into other areas. And I see a lot of desktop people who are into programming and so forth, or into network administration, who want to move up. Certainly, move up in that game. Like I think somebody was talking about the Cisco, the whole router piece and all of that. A lot of people saying Cisco routers. Nah, that router game ain't done, man. That shit ain't done by a long shot. So there's a lot there that you can pick up on, and you get certified there. You get your dollars go up. How do those guys saying that on a living color, more money. I mean, you gotta look at it from that perspective. And yeah, it's wide open. Brothers, for us, if we really want to make money in the IT game, that's where it is. And there's really there's not a lot of paths to stop you. There really is not. And we say this all the time here. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, and just throw this out here. Like my last job, I was actually working as help desk. And sometimes you guys step down, to get yourself right, to get back up the way you want to be. But I was trying to understand how this company was working. I mean, they did everything online. It was all help desk online, and the way they paid people, it was all based on the amount of time you spent on a call. It was almost like sales, pretty much. So you got on the call, you know what I'm saying, and whatever. It was like, I would say 20 different companies that we supported, and it was all done, remote. And so if it was a account issue, then we'll log on to XY server or whatever to unlock the account, help the user back into their system and all that stuff. So I mean, it's still needed, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, I guess that's what I'm saying,
No, definitely great point, because you have all types of like Log Me In, what's the other one? Bomgar. There's a couple of there's a couple of platforms. I think HP has their own system. Dell has their own system. couple of platforms that are available that allow you to do help desk work from home. You can remotely troubleshoot people's systems. Now with IoT and even some of these new autonomous vehicles, you can actually remote troubleshoot these autonomous vehicles if there are any problems and stuff like that. There's a whole variety of things that of markets that are starting to open up because of this sort of powerful remote desktop solution to do troubleshooting and support.
Wonderful points, man. That's. I was going to bring that up, but you jumped on. You beat me to that, and I was going to talk about that. But that's exactly what's going down. The remote aspect of this whole thing and working desktop remotely. It's huge. It's huge there. That's awesome. That's exactly correct. And I just wanted the brother what's his name, who just said before that he had to take to take a step down a little bit to move up. That's another very key point as well. So what you guys talking about is so correct, so on the money. That's what I'm saying. We talk tech talk here and all that, but this is actionable stuff. This is stuff that brothers really should be very much looking at and getting into. I think there was a question in the chat of someone was saying, well, how do I, what's the best way to get into, computers if you're computer illiterate? And I would say, start to learn some stuff. But hey, desktop support is a great way to learn how to hook stuff up. That's a great way to start to first, to learn about computing, to learn about, the programming aspect and all that will come into play as well. But it's a great entree-vu there. Desktop support, great entree-vu into
well, before you can get into desktop support, you got to understand the fundamentals of computers.
You do. You
need to have some form of literacy. Google has a new platform for computer desktop support training that tells you that teaches you how to understand the systems and what you're going to be supporting. You get a certificate out of it as well. So
right.
You might want to look up that thing about Google support, Google IT support certification. I think it's broken down for the novice. So if you can if you know how to work social media or even power up a computer and email, that's only 10% of the way. So you still got 90% to go, but there's still a lot of breathing room to actually learn and grow into that role. So
that's right. But it's a great interest point. That's what I'm saying. It's a great interest point to get in there, and then you become highly literate from there. But it's a great interest point. Great point, Mike. Great point. Awesome point.
Yeah, and not to advertise any. Oh, I'm sorry. You finna start the next one. I apologize.
No. Go ahead, Josh.
No, I was just gonna say, and I don't like to advertise, everybody else, but Udemy is a great investment. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You can pay them a couple of dollars or whatever, and Udemy will has any type of IT training you can think of. It has it on there. And so if you want to invest in your future, you want to get into IT and you computer illiterate, then Udemy is a way to go as well. You know what I'm saying? You can pick up those courses and just do it on your own time and pick this stuff up and then start putting that stuff on your resume as well. I mean, I know Mike gonna get into all that, but yeah, you could put all that all this training that you've done on your resume, and it looks as good as experience. Some not 100%, but it looks like you're trying to do go in that direction, and people will bank on that. You know what I'm saying? If they see you doing that training and trying to get into it, so
Yeah, we also do IT mentorship on here, IT coaching here as well. So if you want to be coached or mentored, leave your email at the end of the live stream or put it in the chat now, and we can actually get in touch with you and chop up some game. All right, let me get to this next article. This one is from CBT Nuggets. It's another training site too that you might want to look up. How to stop worrying and love the help desk. The help desk isn't the most glamorous position ever, and a few TV shows or films feature a protagonist who's on the phone for half the day, emailing the other half, and redditing for world peace in between. But starting your career on the help desk has more benefits than you might think. Hey, Josh, you got to mute yourself, bro.
Sorry.
Here are a few thoughts on how to stay motivated at the help desk despite wishing you were out there saving the rainforest or the whales or something. We all have our dreams. So you just met someone for the first time and they ask what you do. You want to confidently exclaim, "I am a help desk commander." But all you can manage is a sheepish IT hoping for he won't probe further. Quickly changing the subject, you optimistically assume they will imagine you as a mystical cybersecurity specialist instead of your actual position on the first rung of the IT ladder. Due to no fault of your own, decades of unfair stereotyping have hindered your ability to properly assess your self worth in your role in a company or even society. While it's commonly viewed as a lowly and unskilled position, it is important to recognize that as the front line of IT support, you are literally doing God's work. How else would the IT world, and remember that means the world, run so smoothly without your mastery of being both technical and personable at the same time? Can you imagine the maelstrom of miscommunication that would occur if those cantankerous techs in tiers 2 and 3 in the support hierarchy were to deal with clients directly? Enough said. IT professionals are generally viewed as know-it-alls. Thanks again, Hollywood, expected to conjure an instant answer with a flick of the wrist and a few clacks on the keyboard. But consider your own personal experiences or expectations. When you call any company's customer support center, your first thoughts are likely to ask for a supervisor or manager up front because we all seem to have this other ingrained idea that anything with the word support is more like a secretarial role than an actual immediate service. Whether it reflects the real world or not, we're primed to think support personnel are just there to protect the valuable time of more important, more skilled people higher up in the chain of command, sort of like a shielded phalanx unit protecting the mages of a battlefield, if you really want to get all metaphorical. The thing is, it's kind of really true, and there's no reason to be ashamed of that. In fact, it's probably in your employment contract to do just that. So why not own this responsibility? Front desk IT support is one of the few jobs where you can safely pass the buck, no skin off your back. Know your place and never be shy to escalate an issue. You won't lose your job over it because at the end of the day, your job is to escalate when it's appropriate so you don't waste anyone's time. Ironically, if you can make your end users or clients think, well, that escalated quickly, then that's a job well done. Dealing with users in a frenzy over extensively inconsequential matters such as their desktop wallpaper having changed randomly can be super stressful. But you love helping people, and you know what people in distress love: being listened to and being helped. Most professions affect people positively, but you are able to directly impact people's lives while working with another person of yours, IT. To cover the help desk and provide good service to people is to be an everyday superhero, both to you and to others. Not everyone can say that about their work. So take a few moments out of your day to sit back and feel good about it all. Just as you can't climb Mount Everest without first stopping at the base camp, your future IT career is dependent on where you begin. A starting point as a help desk technician or support rep isn't just a good foundation. For many, it's a necessary foundation. As senior technicians like to say with a knowing look, we've all been there. Wouldn't you too like to be able to say that to your future underlings text one day? purely resume wise, starting at the bottom and successfully plowing through the inevitable in you that companies sitting at a desk and waiting for calls all day demonstrates a certain type of resolve and strength of character that future employers hunt for. So if you're only in it for the promotions, rest assured that the slog, if indeed it is a slog for you, is not in vain. And while jumping into a more specialized job like a wireless network engineer pays more from the get-go, this can be a career trap for those who are yet undecided and who might want to later switch to a more people or leadership oriented IT role. Even if you hate it, the help desk will help you decide where you want to take your IT career. Think of it as a professional gap year that you're getting paid for in cash, work experience, and a ton of soft skills you wouldn't learn elsewhere. These skills will last a lifetime. Not only will you learn how IT operations work from the bottom up, and to a degree that you can understand the bigger picture of the business environment, but you could also be first in line for other high-paying roles in team leadership, like project management, or perhaps even one day CTO ship. I echo this whole entire article. This thing is bang on the money in what they're saying. I can't find any disagreement there at all. I started off the same exact way in desktop support. So I spent probably 5 years in it before I moved on to server. Yeah, I think I spent like 3 or 4 years in there before I went on to a server role, and then from server to data center, from data center to security. So I think the article is bang on the money. Let me see what people in the chat are saying. Yeah, I don't know if anybody else has anything you want to add to that. I know Nagone likes to dabble every now and then, so.
Well, one thing I would like to say is I totally agree with what you said. That article is right on the money. I kind of look at help desk, tech support, and all that. I kind of related to when I spent time in the military. The grunts, you the tip of the spear. Help desk is the exact same thing. You're the tip of the spear. You see all the issues as they come in, and it'll give you an awareness of the big picture, so to speak. If you really sit there and understand it. So I guess what I'm getting to is, for instance, everything you learn at that level as well will help you in future endeavors or future positions that you have. Like, just to give an example, when I started out, I got lucky, but I became a network administrator at at a company or whatever, and I used to have to write a lot of batch scripts or whatever to handle certain processes. Well, that's still helping me to this day. For instance, I'm a database administrator now, which is totally different from that type of position, and I'm doing a whole lot more scripting on the database side than what I did when I was networking, and now it's PowerShell. And since I know batch scripting, it allowed me to understand the concepts of PowerShell in order to succeed in it. And like, for instance, I just started this job. I I wrote a whole PowerShell script that allowed them to pull certain data that they needed from the servers themselves that are housing the database the database applications SQL. And if I hadn't have done those earlier skills or learned those skills, I wouldn't have been able to do that to kind of show that I can be an asset to no matter what the position is, because I have skills that can come through. I'm sorry.
No, that's no problem.
Okay.
All right, this next one is from CompTIA.org. Your next move, server support technician. People generally don't think about, let me expand this out. People generally don't think about things like servers until they stop working. In an organization or company, a problem with server means productivity and business loss. So it is essential that their servers work well at all times. If you like to keep things running and troubleshoot problems that could affect many people, as well as install new technology and keep people online, then a career as a service support technician could be for you. A service support technician manages, repairs, and analyzes an organization's servers, making sure everything is up and running. Other duties of a service support technician may include the following: run routine security and vulnerability scans, assemble and install physical equipment as needed, maintain an accurate inventory of equipment and connections, oversee the disposal of obsolete equipment, install and monitor and support monitoring and other software packages, monitor and operate complex computer systems, network applications, and distributed systems. A service support technician analyzes the performance of an organization's servers and resolves any problems with them that may arise. Someone in this role must have great problem solving skills and be highly knowledgeable in Linux, Windows, and Unix server operations. A service support technician is also responsible for installing things such as hardware, racks, and operating systems. Many service support technicians work remotely or on a contract basis, going to where the problems are. Strong verbal and written communication skills are essential for that job, and someone in this role must be able to work independently with minimal supervision. Some service support technicians go on to become IT support engineers or field network technicians. How to become a service support technician? Many companies hiring a service support technician are looking for someone with a bachelor's degree or equivalent in technical discipline. Service support technicians previously worked as a help desk technician or network administrator. Most companies looking for a server support technician want someone with at least 3 years of related experience. Certifications like CompTIA's A+, CompTIA's Network Plus, CompTIA Linux Plus, and CompTIA Server Plus can prove that you have the skills to be a server support technician. Check out the CompTIA career roadmap to see what other certifications can help you become a server support technician. The details. Server support technician salary range. In 2018, the average salary for a server support technician was $59,000 according to Burning Glass Technologies. Server support technician job outlook. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, there is an 11% expected job increase for server support technicians between the years of 2016 and 2026. Job titles related to server support technician, server administrator, storage administrator, network technician, IT support engineer. So, I want to go to that link. Okay. Let me see if this works. All right, this is a roadmap. So for those of you who are trying to get into IT or already there and need to figure out what the trajectory is for your career in terms of IT, this exploded roadmap is actually going to help you. It's really beneficial. So it says beginner novice on the upper left hand side, and it points to CompTIA A plus, CompTIA ITF F plus, and then you have CompTIA A plus again with CCENT at the bottom of it. So that's for networking. Let me see. This should be a legend here. Not necessarily. So let me just kind of wing it from here. And again, you have in the green section, you have CompTIA A plus HDI, which is Help Desk Institute. You have ITIL Foundation, all in the beginner section. So those are the certifications you need to be looking at as a beginner and a novice. In the intermediate section, you have, I hate this stupid PDF. In the intermediate section, you have CCNA, CompTIA Security Plus, Network Plus, Server Plus, CCIA, CEH, CHFI, GCIH, GSEC, GISP, MCSA Server 2012. You also have CompTIA Server Plus, CWNA, CWTS, HDI, DSM, HDI, SCM, ITIL Intermediate, MCSA, and Salesforce. That's new. I haven't seen Salesforce being posted. So this is I'm going to drop the link for this in the chat so that you guys can actually look at it in your spare time. ITIL is the framework for IT business organizations that want to structure their enterprise environment around the ITIL framework for dealing with IT operations. I think about 90% of the organizations in the United States use ITIL in one way, shape, or form as a process. So although I think most organizations are moving away from ITIL from the startup standpoint, they don't really need it in that regard because they can adopt a more sophisticated or less sophisticated framework, such as like DevOps or some other agile framework that's in place. So that's starting to go away in terms of startups, but most legacy organizations, if not all legacy organizations in government, use ITIO as a process framework. So that's the skinny on that. If you want to look into the career roadmap, then use the PDF that I dropped in the chat. All right, let me get to this next article. All right, this one is from CompTIA again. Get certified and get promoted. How IT certifications can propel your career. IT professionals benefit from getting certified at all different points in their career from high school students to career changers and entry-level IT pros to those with a few years under their belt. It's not unwarranted to ask if investing in an IT certification or two is something they should hold off on until they've already made inroads in the field. A recent study by IDC reveals, however, that if you're on the fence about getting certified, it might work in your favor to snag a cert or two before you land your first IT job. Those advantages of CompTIA certifications, the advantages of CompTIA certifications, it seems, can start on your first day early or earlier. IDC found that IT professionals who get certified before their first IT job get promoted about 23% sooner than those who have not yet been certified, an average of 14 months versus 17 months. And not only do promotions happen sooner for IT pros who have CompTIA certifications when they walk in the door, but there's also a better chance of them getting promoted, period. Within 1 year of hire, 58% of those who were already certified got promotions compared to the 53% who got certified once they were on the job. It's a fairly small variance, but where money and title are concerned, it never hurts to take steps that will position yourself in even slightly ahead if it's possible and convenient to do so. Perhaps expectedly, CompTIA certification holders, regardless of when they get certified, are promoted more than IT pros who never get certified. This could be attributed to many factors, some skills-based, some confidence-based, and some owing to IT certifications being necessary for particular job roles. Comfort and confidence in a position are big factors in success. And the IDC study indicates that IT pros who get certified before entering their first IT job report being 16% more comfortable with responsibilities related to new technologies than those without. CompTIA certifications validate a structured working knowledge of the foundational technologies used across industries. They are also vendor neutral, giving an overview of the principles behind enabling technologies rather than focusing on commands restricted to a specific of hardware or software. That means that CompTIA certified IT pros understand the full picture, the why behind something functioning, not just how it takes to make it work. Arriving in a position with best practices and vendor neutral context for the technology fresh in their mind, certification holders are in the perfect mindset to see the full technological picture in their new workplace. Even when technology changes, they are in a better position to understand the mechanics of how new things function and fit into a existing IT stack. They are also better positioned to suggest where a technology might fit, which shows they are primed for taking a step up the job ladder. Of course, not every career path is the same. Some people don't have the resources or time to pursue certifications early on. Others don't learn about IT certifications or recognize their importance until they've been working for a while. People in these situations and countless more can certainly build and boost their careers with CompTIA certifications at any time in their careers. What the IDC study does indicate, though, is that if an aspiring IT pro has the resources to get a CompTIA certification before starting their first job, it's worth it to take the exam and earn the credential. For educational institutions, it's just as clear. Getting students CompTIA certified before they get into the workforce is putting a powerful career development tool in their hands, one that will continue to yield dividends in skill satisfaction and comfort, career comfort, long after they've graduated. So we've talked about this before. You wanted to get into desktop support, you want to get into help desk, want to get into networking, sysadmin. Better to get certified than to not get certified. It's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. I can't stress that enough. Dragon, you have anything you want to add to that?
Well, I add to it.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, everything I got from that article was don't get comfortable. At the end of the day, you can get these certifications to get into the job, but don't let yourself get comfortable. Keep working towards your goal. It all depends on what you're trying to get into, but just keep working on the certifications. Don't stop. You know what I'm saying? You learned everything you needed for those first certifications to get yourself into the door. Don't stop there. You know what I'm saying? So just keep pushing and learning new stuff because the technology is constantly changing. A lot of it is built on top of what's already there. So I mean, just the example, cloud. Cloud is they a buzzword. It's used nowadays, but it all started from Active Directory. All that stuff was originally on physical servers. Now it's on.
Keep it techie. Your mic is breaking up a lot.
Yeah. Your mic, you're starting to borg a little bit.
I think he's driving.
Yeah, I just want to say, the point you're bringing up right there, bro. If you can hear me, that's so dead on the money. It's not even funny. The reality is the certifications do give you a good handle as to what the base of the game that you're getting involved in. They're helpful, and you build on that from there. So it's really building a strong foundation, those certifications, and that's why a lot of companies, when they hire, they look at that. They look at that significantly because they know that you have a good base, at least in what you're getting involved in, what they would be hiring you for. So certifications are I consider them to be important. People should get them. It doesn't necessarily mean if you don't have a certification, you're not competent in that area. That definitely does not mean that at all. But certifications certainly do let you know that, hey, listen, this person has gone through, a baseline program where he's got the fundamentals to this game. And hey, listen, we know this person at least has some level of fundamental soundness. Bottom line, you build on that from there and you keep getting more certifications as you follow up the line and you become that much more valuable. Very important. I do suggest that people do that. I know a lot of IT professionals do suggest that for people. And I think that's certainly the way to go. Mike, would you agree with that or would you see that differently?
No, I can't say I disagree at all. I think we're moving into a realm where, the bachelor's degree may not be obtainable and may not be necessary, and a certification might be more necessary than the degree itself. I think you pair a certification and a degree together, and you're ready to throw down with the best of them. I myself was certified before I even graduated from undergrad, and I used my certifications to get out of certain classes. I had enough credits, so I graduated a little bit earlier than I should have. So certifications help in the academy as well as outside the academy, and I don't understand why some of these articles, they or I should say some of these articles, but some of the debate around certification says that, oh well, certifications aren't everything. It doesn't need to be everything, but to have it is better to not have it.
Yeah, that's the bottom line, and you have to look at this from this perspective, from the degree perspective. Yeah, college degree is a good thing to have, but the way the dollars are rolling out right now with respect to getting a degree, some of this might be somewhat questionable. Down the line. Question: founder of Microsoft, was he a college graduate? Did he have a degree?
He actually dropped out.
Okay. All right. The individual who founded the iPhone and everything else like this, did they have college degrees?
Wozniak and and Jobs, they both had degrees. One, I think Wozniak was an electrical engineer, and I think Steve Jobs was a computer science major. So, um,
I don't think Steve Jobs had a degree. I don't know if he graduated. I think these guys jumped in their garages and started working
well,
and
that was
jamming.
that. Well, that was
Basement.
yeah. That's the tail of the market. But I think at some point they got accredited at some point for what they were doing. So,
Okay.
um,
All right, but they initially didn't. See, I know that Microsoft, these other companies, they hire, and if you have a certain level of, they say you have a degree, but work experience. They always talk about work experience. So they're not trying to base even higher level, programming positions on whether or not you have a college degree. It really comes down to how much experience you've had programming and coding in a certain area and what kind of environments that you've actually come out of. So that is of the most important. You see banking institutions and so forth, they'll press for a degree in certain areas, but if you bring a guy in, he's got all the critical skill sets and he's got all the background, he doesn't have a degree, that company is going to interview him and test him in the environment to see where he is. And if he comes up really good in interviews, well, he's gonna get hired. So it's coming down to skill sets more so almost than anything else than just a degree, because a degree doesn't mean that much. I mean, not that it doesn't mean anything. I don't want to debase the degree. I have one. A lot of the brothers here have degrees. It's not, but at the end of the day, it's coming down to experience, and I think that's and your skill set, very important. College at times may not prepare you best for that, but certainly you take these courses and you get these certifications and so forth. That prepares you more so than anything else.
all right, this next one is from Infoworld.com. Tiny Cloud's taking on AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud. Clouds have to be big, right? If the best feature of the cloud is that you can just click and start up a machine in seconds, it follows that there must be vast warehouses loaded with computers out there somewhere. Huge warehouses filled with tall racks of machines are arranged in endless rows, like a modern digital version of the ending of the Raiders of the Lost Ark. The word big is relative, though. The biggest clouds, AWS and Microsoft Azure and Google Cloud Platform, may attract much of the market share, but they are far from the only companies in the game. Some smaller companies are developing niches and finding a way to compete, even though their racks of machines are minuscule, at least compared to the big three. I can't really see this is expanded out. And to call these alternatives minuscule is only possible in comparison to the dominant players. It's common to find that many of these competitors also run dozens of data centers around the globe, and these data centers also have enough racks of machines to serve a set for a modern digital version of Raiders of the Lost Ark. They are just not gargantuan. What happened? Whatever, man. Yeah, this went behind a paywall for whatever reason. It was fine until I started reading it. So, anyways, let me move on to the next one. If you want to get on the panel, the link is in the chat. Just raise your hand when you join the panel. Oh, that's not what I'm looking for. All right, this next one from CompTIA. This is the last one on the docket. The three P's of IT certifications: performance, professional influence, and promotions. Technology is in nearly every workplace today, from the biggest multinational enterprise to the smallest of small businesses. Business is conducted via connecting to networks day in, day out. So while the specific skills needed are always evolving with technology, there is a constant need for skilled staff that understands how IT infrastructure functions, how to secure it, and how to maintain it. In a world where nearly everyone is an end user, the question arises of how valuable it is for IT pros to not only earn vendor neutral IT certifications, but also keep them current. A recent study by IDC found that it's very valuable for those who are new to IT, those who have taught themselves, those who have done apprenticeships, and even those who have worked in IT for a number of years. The IDC study, Impact of Certifications and Training on Career Milestones, illustrates how CompTIA appears to improve the lives of IT certification holders along the 3 points of valuation: performance, professional influence, and promotional potential. Digging deep into what each of these means gives us a feel for a cycle of career improvement, supported by CompTIA as certified IT pros advance through their careers. Performance. One thing that arises repeatedly throughout the IDC study is that CompTIA certified IT pros demonstrate an ability to do the job better than their non-certified peers. Holders of the entry-level IT certifications CompTIA A plus report having 52% more core domain knowledge than non-certified staff with 3 years of experience. This is because CompTIA A plus requires IT professionals to demonstrate a working knowledge of the industry standard best practices for an entire subject area. They have to not only know that a particular command or hardware trick works to solve a particular problem, they also have to understand why it works. This offer this offers advantages over or enhancements to both self-taught IT skills and vendor-specific IT certifications. IT builds competence and confidence. Knowing the right way of performing a task removes guesswork and lessens the potential for error. And since holders of CompTIA certifications learn a full range of fundamental knowledge or foundational knowledge, there's a far smaller chance that they'll run into a situation that's completely unfamiliar. So when a CompTIA certified IT pros is given a task, even if it's outside of their usual workload, they'll have the conceptual knowledge and the exam training to help them arrive at a solution they can stand by. This level of assured competence is doubtlessly the basis for the high level of confidence among CompTIA certified IT pros, who are 10% more likely to be comfortable with their responsibilities than non-certified professionals. Perhaps more interesting is that CompTIA certified IT pros report being 40% more confident than those who hold other IT certifications. This seems to point to IT staff being tasked with responsibilities broader than the management of products from a particular vendor. So while IT pros may demonstrate mastery of technology for which they have their vendor certifications, they are less solid on technology outside of that. CompTIA certifications give vendor-specific training a vendor-agnostic general foundation. Professional influence. If IT pros can demonstrate that they know their stuff, exemplifying a high standard of performance and the confidence that comes with it, they can take ownership of more important tasks. It's natural that they'll then become go-to resources for questions about how to proceed with current tech strategies or new potential deployments, while acting as liaisons to higher level business functions and helping to define strategy in this way. They'll they will also be trusted to take on management responsibilities for their own teams. Higher performance leads to higher professional influence. And as the IDC study indicates, certified IT professionals have a 30% greater rate of professional influence than those who are not IT certified at the same level. With improvability and influence comes rewards in terms of moving up the job ladder more quickly and decisively. And of course, being rewarded financially, the IDC study reports that CompTIA certification holders get promotions both sooner and more frequently than those without IT certifications. This is true both of people who get certified before they get a job and people who get certified while on the job. In fact, CompTIA certified professionals are promoted almost twice as frequently as those without IT certifications. In addition to increased performance and influence leading to a higher rate of promotions, having CompTIA certifications validates skills for working at particular level of the profession. So those skills can be tied to specific job roles. Earning a CompTIA Network Plus, for instance, demonstrates an IT pro's ability to perform the task of a network administrator. For example, if someone works at the help desk and earns the CompTIA Network Plus, that could prove they are ready for a promotion to network administrator. We talked about that earlier. The story that the IDC tells is one of IT certifications having positive impacts that continue to be reinforced throughout an IT pro's career. CompTIA certified IT pros learn how to manage technology the right way. This knowledge imbues them with a level of certainty about their ability, which causes them to act with a greater level of confidence. This confidence causes them to take on more responsibility, and their demonstrated demonstrable demonstrable ability to lead to a greater range of influence throughout their workplace. This leads to promotions and financial rewards, which in turn provides incentives to keep learning, building skills, earning IT certifications, and taking on responsibilities. So they are echoing everything that was said before in this live stream. So having a certification is better than to not have it at all. There are a lot of people who argue that you don't need a certification and all this other stuff, and you can get by without it. And I beg to differ. I think if you have the ability to be Linux certified, you should be Linux certified. I think if you have the ability to be network certified, you should be network certified then. I don't see why you wouldn't take this certification. What it costs for a certification, if you think about the article says that they're, one of the articles we read earlier says that you're 7.5 to 10% boost in salary just for having a certification. We have to think about how much it costs for a certification. Certification is anywhere between $100 to $300. Let's say it's $300. You take that $300 and you apply it to the next role. That can mean the difference between that $300 certification can determine whether or not you get an extra $5,000 to $10,000 in salary.
It's such a small investment. It's a small investment to get a big return. So it's not even about the money. People who want to talk about the money with it, even if it's $1,000, $2,000, you're going to make that up massively over the long term. So it's not even about the money. People who don't have the certification, some people just don't go for it. Some people think, oh man, I got, I'm an expert. I've picked up a lot of stuff. And you know, and I know as much as anybody who's been certified. Yes, that very well may be true, and there's definitely people out there who have that. Like I said, one of the strongest Unix people I ever saw was a guy who had servers in his house, and you know, and he was a kid. You know, I keep mentioning the story because it was so remarkable, but yet, you know, here this guy was able to solve problems that that some of these other certified guys came in and weren't able to do because he just had the stuff and he worked on it all the time. And for him, it was just fun. It was a game, and he was exceedingly. He's a CTO now, to be quite frankly, he's a CTO, but never went to college. But anyway, this guy was crazy strong, but not everybody's going to be like that. So having certifications definitely give you an advantage. And I would say for anybody who's getting into the IT field, with given field you're getting involved in, definitely get certified. Definitely do it. It's definitely going to pay off. It's definitely going to pay off. And if you don't see the immediate payoff in the beginning, it's going to pay off down the line. That is for sure. No doubt. No question about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's better to have it than and to not need it than to need it and not have it. And the website that you're looking at right here is getcertifiedforless.com. This posts all types of certifications discounted for cheap, so you're never paying full price. So that $300 certification I was talking about before is going to be down to, let's say, $186, like this A+ certification. You really can't beat that. You cannot beat that. They have all types of certifications on there. Microsoft.
That's short money. That's short money.
Yeah, that's a super chat and on other people's platforms, but
yeah, that's short money.
Microsoft certifications, Intel server certifications, Autodesk, Adobe. Now, what else? Yeah, so I'm going to drop this in the chat so you guys can take advantage of it. And then I'm going to go to Pearson. All right, this one is from PearsonITCertification.com. There's a Labor Day sale that's now through September 15th, so you have until tomorrow to actually take advantage of this, or at least the next few hours until 12 o'clock. I go here to get all my books, e-books and physical books. They just have the right books, personally, in my opinion. I like Pearson's publications because they're usually clean and have very few errors, grammatical errors. So you're not busting your head open trying to figure out what was, you know, what's the real context behind this, because you know, grammatical misspellings and stuff like that really hurt you in your reading. All right, so let me drop that in the chat for you guys too. And then go back to CBT Nuggets. CBT Nuggets is really good for if you're a visual learner, so you want to watch a video and hear the presenter present that the training to you. Actually, it's the wrong year to get started with. All right, let me drop that in the chat too. You can't go wrong with CBT Nuggets. CBT Nuggets has all the mainstream certification trainings on there. So I've used those CBT Nuggets videos for A Plus, Network Plus back in the day, and they were fundamental in me passing the exam. It was over 10 years ago though. Oh, you dummy. Yeah. All right, this one is from Udemy too, udemy.com. You can download the app to your phone or your tablet. Udemy has all types of IT courses on there. Endless amount of courses you can't really go wrong with. Some of the courses are bad, some of them are good. Just look at the ratings on there. It should tell you if it has low amount of stars, then you should probably avoid it. Should definitely avoid it. If it has a high amount of stars, it's probably a safe bet that it's a good piece of content that's been posted. And they're usually pretty cheap. I don't think I've ever spent more than $20 on a training before. So I'll drop that in the chat too. I like my books physical because I'm old school like that. But what I found with ebooks in my new Chromebook tablet, it's actually very comparable. The only difference here is that you cannot make the same highlights and annotations that you would on a physical book. So that kind of always trips me up. But I do like the bookmarking in the sense that you could turn your tablet off and then turn it right back on and you're right back to the same spot. So there's some good and positives about ebooks, but the better the screen, the better the read is going to be. I can only spend about an hour reading on an ebook because it kills my eyes, even with all the new features for it. So. Nicole, you have anything you want to add in terms of what are some of the strategies a person some of these brothers can learn?
I think some good stuff is definitely covered here, but certainly going online and looking at various programs that one can get into, and certainly just move forward towards. I think there's a lot of good information out there. We've covered a lot of good stuff here. One of the things I like about, like I said, the Brain Trust is actionable information, stuff that you can actually act on and move on to really help you move forward. And I think Mike has laid out some really good stuff here, and I have to agree with him. This is kind of where I would start out and get these certifications, and really start to work towards building an IT career. The investment is relatively low, $100, maybe $200-$300. I'm sure you can come up with that, or maybe borrow it from somebody possibly who might be able to help you out on that, to get that, because they certainly will they'll get that back in spades, certainly, once you've had a chance to move forward in this field. But and not to say that not $100 or $300 is easy to get for a lot of people, because I know, depending on people, sometimes that may not be that easy. But if you can certainly do it at work, or save some of it up to do that, then certainly it's a worthwhile investment. But definitely moving forward in this field is important. I would have to agree, get on these online courses, and definitely get some of these ebooks, and definitely start to push forward in these areas. It's It's not that hard. I mean, a lot of people who are playing video games and all that could take time out of where you've gotten good at Fortnite and everything else like that, and put that effort and time into getting good in IT, and then it's going to be a very you can make a lot of money at it. You definitely can. You can have a worthwhile career, and a lot of people start out that way. So I would have to go kind of along with Mike. As far as what he's laid out, I think that's definitely the path to take. The other paths, you can get into a job, with someone who you might know, and start to work help desk, and get into that and really learn that from there. But that's a whole nother kind of path. I think the best way is getting certified and moving forward. And it's not the entrance fee is not that heavy. Not like getting a degree and trying to get an MIS and run an MIS department, for a company where you have to have an MIS degree and everything else like that, management information systems degree and so forth, which is going to cost you, upwards of $80,000 or anything like that. Forget about that. This is a much better way to go, and that's kind of how I would look at it. I believe Mike has laid out very, very, very clear here, and that is how I would actually move forward. That's how I see that. Good stuff, Mike.
Yes. And I want to point back to what the article said, was that help desk person who studies their Network Plus and passes it with flying colors, especially if you get a 900 out of 900 on it, or 850 out of 900, more than likely you're ready for a network administrator's role. So that's when you start applying. You're in the help desk role, you're in the desktop role, you pass your Network Plus, time to start applying. You want to network as much as possible. Reaching out to people, showing up to events, FaceTime matters, handshakes matter, exchanging contacts matter. Social networking is actually critical for Black males, because your ability to have a broader reach will determine what your trajectory path can actually be. Those who are isolated, who want to be incels and hide behind a keyboard and not actually do anything, who are not proactive about their advancement, will probably be doing desktop support, if not doing nothing. You probably won't get into the industry at all. It's more about who you know rather than what you know. So, at least in that regard.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great point. It's always about who you know. That's always going to play a big role. Who you know, who you're close with, what contacts you have, is always going to bring you into certain circumstances that maybe others may not get. So that's always going to be important. So networking and getting it on LinkedIn and so forth, and linking up with people that you might see and whatever, and reach out to those people and see how that could work. Is always good. And other social networking outlets can definitely play a role. Finding out where maybe these events might happen as well, going to IT fairs and so forth, where they may be being given in your city, given in your town or wherever, and you might have a chance to happen upon that online, or you might see that somewhere, and just showing up and being around and just talking to people could open up a door for you. You just never know. So that social networking piece and just being around and pressing the flesh, always an important thing. But moving forward with these IT certification programs and just going straight in it that way, straight line, going right there, is definitely highly advantageous. Highly advantageous, as the entrance fee is not that heavy. It's not that heavy. I'm not going to say $100 or $300 is no money, because it can be a lot to some people. So don't let me downplay that, but if you can come up with that and invest into yourself this way, that is definitely a worthwhile investment to get involved, because it's going to pay off down the line. But I think real good information was broken down here tonight.
Yeah, definitely. And you want to get yourself involved in NSBE as well. NSBE is the National Society of Black Engineers. You want to be a part of those sort of larger networking groups. The more FaceTime you show up there, and the more you participate in there, your ability to go from one company to another is actually going to work in that transition. So who you know is going to matter. And NISB offers that sort of broad perspective of network professionals, tech professionals, who are in these environments that are looking to bring on more Black people onto a role. That's going to encompass a lot of the activities that go on NISB. So make sure you join as a professional, pay that $65 membership fee, and just get in. I'll drop that in the chat for you guys. So there's a NISB in every region. So there's about 6 regions that you can participate in based on your location. And once you do that, you should be good to go. Each region is different because there's different cultures in different regions, but the agenda is all the same. Is for networking and consolidating our human resources and human capital. So that should be in the chat for you guys. The docket will be available at the end of the live stream. And if you want some IT mentorship and IT coaching and want to transition from an IT role to another role or get into IT, we offer that here. Just drop your email at the end of the live stream, and then we'll get in contact with you. Let me see if I left one thing out. Josh, you have any words before we close out? I think Josh might be driving.
Yeah, hey, I don't know if you guys can hear me. I don't want to
go ahead.
the stream if I'm working out or whatever. But I mean, you guys hit the nail on the head. Everything you guys said was right on point. So I just agree. And just to add to that, what you were saying about ebooks or whatever, go on and invest in a Kindle. That's the way I carry all my books around. I got maybe 50 books in my Kindle that
great. The same
ebooks.
thing. That's great. It's great. It's
still going bad.
No.
Go ahead.
That's really good. That's good. We talking Kindle. That's really good.
Oh yeah. Because it lasts a week. You charge it one time, it lasts a week. You know what I'm saying? You got all your books with you. You can bookmark and all that stuff. Do it. That's just another recommendation if you want to carry around your stuff, because I mean you need it in these jobs. It's always good to I don't know, be in a meeting and somebody brings up an idea or something, and then after the meeting you go back by your desk and pull up a book that talks about that, or refreshes your mind on something that you might have didn't think about during the meeting, and bring that back to collaborate on whatever ideas you guys are working on. So it's always good to have that with you.
Yeah, I have a Chromebook. I have an HP Chromebook tablet, the X2. I love it, but it's not as powerful as I wish it was, like a MacBook or a Windows Microsoft Surface. But it gets the job done in terms of reading ebooks. So I'll keep it for that. I've ordered a new HP Elite X2 5G laptop. Should be here in the next couple of weeks. The first laptop to have 5G in the United States. So I can't wait till they finish building it for me. I'm going to go live everywhere and anywhere at any time and pull up on anybody at any given place, all the way to Baja, Mexico, if I have to. So,
are you going to pull up?
I'm going to pull up like a Huggies.
Oh, you pulling up?
Just like a pamper.
Oh my God.
Actually, let me put the Brain Trust email into the chat so that people can not sure if anybody could see that email in the chat. Yeah, so the email is in the chat. If you email that email for the Black Brain Trust, and then put in the title IT mentorship, and then put your description down as to what it is that you're looking for, where you're from, where you're located, what you're trying to do, what your background is. Give a quick synopsis, so then we can go from there. Yeah, we're gonna be pulling up on cats, man. Pulling up on them just like the pens, man, on these old people. Pull them up. Just like them skinny jeans that y'all be sagging. Pull them up.
Pull him up. I pull it up.
Mhm.
I pull it up. I pull it up. I pull it up.
Stop dabbling. Stop dabbling.
I'm dabbling.
And pull up.
And I pull it up. I pull it up. Yeah, I pull it
It's a
up.
new dance move, dab. The chicken noodle soup and the dab. And the pull up.
and the pull up.
It's like rubbing your belly and rubbing your forehead. I mean, rubbing the top of your head at the same time, man.
Well, see if we can walk and chew gum at the same time. That's key. But anyway.
Walk and dabble at the same time. Oh, man.
This is too much. Too much.
Yeah.
Good show, Mike. Good show.
Thank you. And yeah, we're gonna be out of here, man. We're gonna go to space and technology, man. I was gonna do a car hangout tonight, man. Not tonight, man. Wait till Tuesday to do that.
All right.
All right. Shalom, everybody.
Good night. Good night.